Some of you may know of the Taizé community in France. This is a group of monks from many different Christian denominations from around the world, and they've come together in community in a ministry of music. And they create these beautiful, meditative, simple tunes and songs. And the spiritual practice is to sing these words over and over and over again. This one is one of my favorites. Thank you so much. Darkness is never darkness in your sight. The night is as clear as day. The reading I'd like to share with you is a poem, oddly enough, called In the Meantime, by poet Hirons. He says, meanwhile, flowers still bloom, the moon rises, and the sun. Babies smile, and somewhere, against all the odds, two people are falling in love. Strangers share cigarettes and jokes. Light plays on the surface of the water. Grace occurs on unlikely streets, and we hold each other fast against entropy, the fires, and the flood. Life leads towards living, and while death claims all things at the end, there were such precious moments between in which everything was radiant, and we loved again this world. So, my friends, I truly detest any form of uncertainty. If I go to have a medical test done and they look at me with pity and say, oh, you'll find out in 5 days what the results are, I try to keep myself from falling to my knees and begging, tell me now. The notion of waiting and not knowing is really a challenge for me. It's something I have to kind of work on all the time. It turns out I'm not unique. Most of us, in fact, the vast majority of us prefer certainty. We prefer to know what is. That certainty helps us feel safe. It helps us have a sense, if not an illusion, of greater agency in the world. If I knew with certainty that my candidate of choice would be elected president by Tuesday or Wednesday morning, Wednesday morning, I would be probably a lot more peaceful and content right now. I would definitely feel safer. But I don't. And as I don't have that certainty, there's a small part of me that I don't like to talk about, but there's a small part of me that wishes, I wonder if there were a pill that I could take that without any side effects, I could take it, wake up when the election's over. Here, my candidate won. A little immature, but what can I say? Anxiety is contagious. Marketing researchers writing in the Harvard Business Review write that our certainties are such that they can actually be very good for business if they are properly exploited. So if I have particularly warm feelings towards a detergent or a vacation place or a political party, if my predisposition to like whatever this is becomes a certainty, I will take action. I will buy it. I will make an oath to myself to buy that detergent always for the rest of my life. The job of marketers, of course, is to reinforce that certainty. Whether they're marketing an ultimate reality or some new brand of something that we can't live without, because until we knew about it, we didn't know, but now we know we can't live without it. As a matter of fact, the more certain we are about our beliefs and about what we want and what is right, we can be happier. We can be more content. We even can take more action, even if all that means is, buying that stuff. This country is a garbage can. This country is a land of opportunity. We get to buy whichever statement makes us feel more certain in our certainties. And I've been reflecting about these things in the last several weeks. In fact, as long as this campaign that we've been a part of in this nation has been at fever pitch. And as I reflect on these ideas, they actually help me understand a little bit better what this climate is all about. Why this race is so close, why, well, I don't need to tell you what the whys are. Imagine many of you have experienced them, or thought about them yourselves. But if we need certainty to feel better, if we need certainty to feel safe, it makes sense. It makes sense that we would seek that certainty no matter what is involved. In fact, there's a psychologist who is fairly well known. He's written a lot of books. His name is Dr. Stephen Sosny. He's made the round of the talk shows. And he writes about certainty, and he says, it's a real trade-off. It's not always worth what we think it is. Because in order to feel safe, and in order to have that sense of comfort, we have to sift through and reject all the facts, all of the inconvenient truths that might impinge on that certainty. Anything that contradicts what we need to believe. It turns out we reject that. No matter which side or which perspective we carry, we're all prone to doing that. And that makes sense too. Beloveds, we've lived through a time and years of uncertainty, a horrific pandemic, 1 million people dead just in this country, a lot of upheaval around the world and a lot of strife in our own nation, a lot of divisiveness. I understand we want certainty. But I also think we give up a lot in order to have it. And to have it, we get the value, right? We can understand the value of alternative facts. Which still, in my mind, I mean, it's disgusting, but it's one of the greatest marketing phrases I've ever heard. Alternative facts. The usefulness of beliefs that tell us that the Earth is only 5,000 years old and that somewhere on the planet there's still dinosaurs. It's good enough for our ancestors. It's good enough for us. We want to hold on to it. Hence the usefulness of the kinds of ideologies, be they racist or not, right? Ideologies and this idolatry of the past, where somehow everything was better because housewives, white housewives on TV wore pearls in the kitchen, for crying out loud. And aprons that never got dirty. Yeah, it's not my life. Hence the attraction to autocrats and autocratic governments. Because there's one thing you can say about autocracy is that there's no doubt about what is. There's no uncertainty about what an autocratic regime brings. It brings complete loss of freedom. In exchange for not having to worry, as has been said, not having to worry about ever having to vote again. Not having to worry about somebody else making decisions. I'm actually not being sarcastic. may have my own swirling issues with such beliefs. But I also wanted to try to make sense of why this is so and how, because maybe if we understand, we can be more effective. The trade-off for certainty is a terrible trade-off. It stunts our intellect, it stunts our spiritual growth, it stunts our ability to grow and be fully human. And it erases our capacity to be in the meantime. It doesn't allow us to be open and curious in this moment. It doesn't allow us to be open to the possibilities. It makes everything black or white. Mayo Akomolafe is a Nigerian philosopher and activist who writes about, he imagines a post-activist world. And he says the time is urgent, we must slow down. And he says that to say, we don't know what we can co-create together. We don't know what's going to happen next. But we won't know if all we carry is this vision of the only thing that's right is this. The only way we will know is by taking that deep breath and being here now. Being here in the fullness and the beauty of this life, of one another. Look around and smile, look up and smile, right? This beauty that we have together, this incredibly beautiful music, these words, this welcome. A little pill I would take, were I able to duplicate it by the thousands, would probably make me rich. But it would also make me sick. It would make me miss, it would make me stop living. It would make me stop being open. Imagine if we moved toward Monday, toward Tuesday, towards January, towards 2029 with curiosity, with the openness to see the possibilities of new relationships, the possibilities of hundreds and hundreds of people from our community coming into this church with smiles and the willingness to be scared. Stefan, that was you. And looking around and saying, thank you. Oh, thank you for opening up this building for us. Little kids coming in, holding on to one another, and squealing in joy with great costumes. The possibilities of community ministry. Right now, my friends, I want to say to you that the revolution has begun. I'm glad you're singing protest songs, but guess what? The revolution has begun. It's on its way, and nobody can stop it. It may take longer, it may take shorter, but nobody can stop it. Can you believe the fact that the only credible candidate for the presidency of the United States is not only a woman, but a woman of color? Say yes, I can believe it. Wake up, you need me to yell? A woman of power, a woman steeped in authority, a woman steeped in love who has run a flawless and beautiful campaign. Just watching that campaign, just knowing the reality of her candidacy and what it means, I'm not ashamed to tell you, it has changed my life. As a woman of color, I'm seeing and watching something in real time I never thought I would see. And she might lose, and she might win. But she embodies the repair and the healing our country needs. And even if she does win, or even if she doesn't win, that repair and healing is something we will need for the foreseeable future. Our healing, the healing of our spirits, the ability to release that anxiety, the ability to say what will be, will be, and we will be here for it, is the gift of in the meantime. Let me remind you of the beautiful words of Jalaluddin Rumi, a 13th century Muslim Sufi mystic, who says this: out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. And when the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, and even the phrase each other don't make any sense. Beloveds, we have a choice. We always have choices. We have a choice to fall in love with the world again and again and again. We have a choice to lie down in that grass, to let our spirits take in all that is right now, and trust that we will know what we need to do when the time comes, because we will, no matter what. I promise. Amen. Ashe.